Hello, 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 everyone. Happy Monday. Happy last week of my live streaming before I move. Then I will be back. I hope everyone decides to stick with the channel and come back after the short, brief break. So, also, very busy week this week. How is everyone doing? Hope everyone had a wonderful weekend. Happy solar eclipse day. Good morning, Patrick. Good morning, Sterling. Did Yellen say anything this morning, Richard? What else do we have? Yeah, don't look directly at the eclipse. Don't look. Hope you have your eclipse, and make sure you wear your glasses so you don't affect anyone else who is not wearing theirs. All right. Oh, there we go. Yeah, and I'm not thinking much about export restrictions for China as much as shifts in their macroeconomic environment. Well, thank you. Thank you. Yes, heavy macro week is here. All right. All right. Inflation may be stickier and rates higher than expected. Well, who is. I don't see why that's an. I mean, it's pretty obvious. And have you seen what the metals are doing this morning? And I'm not just talking gold, I'm talking like silver and copper. And copper is a major industrial metal. And the yields going through the roof. What else do we have? What else? Sterling, you're really on it with the news. I can't get to all this stuff. Uh, we are prepared for a very broad range of interest rates from 2 to 8% or even more. 8% or even more? I did not see that. Whoa. Boy, that would be interesting. All right. Good morning, Legion Reaver. Good morning, Jacob. Don't chase a rally in stocks. Well, I agree with that. It's now trailing mode. Morning, all, but it'll keep going until it doesn't. Good morning, Eric. We're starting to get rounded tops, though. BlackRock buying more housing. Fantastic. You'll own nothing and you'll love it. Remember, you'll own nothing. We'll all be renting. Good morning, Heinrich. Good morning, Anissa. Good morning, Connor. Good morning, Martinez. Good morning, Christoph. Good morning. Hello, Charles. Thank you, Chris. Reminder, I should be here today, of course, because it's going on now. But Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, there will be, even though we kick off earnings on Friday for Q1 with the banks, I will not be able to live stream. I'm sorry about that. The movers are coming at 8 a.m., so everything has to be torn apart well before that on Thursday. And there's no way I can be streaming when movers are here. So the preparations are going fine. 95% everything packed except what's necessary to get through the beginning of the week. So thank you for asking. Again, no live stream Friday, and then next week if I could do something mid next week, once my plan is to leave Illinois on Sunday morning very early, drive to Springfield, Missouri on Sunday night, stop in Amarillo, Texas on Tuesday night, and then go through to Scottsdale or Amarillo, Texas Monday night, Scottsdale Tuesday night. So depending on the internet situation and everything else, I'll try to resume the live streams maybe briefly next week. Hopefully, at least there might not be me on the screen, but maybe we can share out some charts and look at some stuff real quick. So really, I do hope people stick with the channel. The channel is not going away. Consumer inflation expectations today, 3 and 6 month bill auction, and of course, we have more Fed speak. We have business optimism index tomorrow, and Red Book, but Monday and Tuesday are really light. Wednesday kicks it off with the CPI and inflation numbers, and then of course more Fed speak and the FOMC minutes from the last meeting. That's from the March meeting. They come out on Wednesday. Thursday, PPI numbers, PPI and jobless claims for Thursday, and of course more Fed speak. And then Friday, we got the consumer expectations for April and inflation expectations. We got more Fed speak and the banks kick off earnings season. So that is what's going on. This morning, well, Tesla's up, of course, with the robo-taxi pump. It was about to make critical support last Friday, and then, oh, we're going to shift. And then you had the negative Forbes article on the Model 2 getting canceled from inside sources. But then we have the robo-pump, robo-taxi, 8.8. So, Amazon up. Chips besides AMD are up. I know you put in something on Micron. What was that, Sterling? MU. I didn't. I know I scrolled by. Micron to raise DRAM and SSD prices over 20%. Oh, but there's no inflation still. It's all subsiding. The groups. Let's see. Should be basic materials based off of what the futures are this morning. And then consumer cyclical. Technology, everything though positive. Consumer defensive at 0. Do we consider 0? It's not negative. It's not really positive. I'm putting it in the positive category. Everything's positive. Fed watch. This is interesting. I got to do one more refresh here just to see if it changed in the last 30 minutes or so. But, ooh, yes, it did change. Before, it was slightly more favoring a June pause. Now it's back to a June cut, but we are only 2 cuts. 2 cuts this year, down from 3. Remember last year we were running 5 to 6 at the end of December, and now we're down to 2? Fear and greed, fully back to greed mode. Again, thank you for putting in all that nude. 2 nights, 4 dogs, quite the schedule, yes. 2 hotel rooms, because only 2 dogs per hotel room. All right, you see not much going on in earnings. We got Delta, and that's still back from, we have those earnings coming out. We got CarMax, we got Constellation Brands, but Friday, JP Morgan, Wells Fargo, BlackRock, Citi, Progressive. I mean, that's where it sits, and then next week really picks it up, and I'm sorry I won't be here, but at least I'm only going to miss some of the bank earnings. We don't get to the real meat and potatoes of tech until the following week. All right, strong bounce back rally on Friday. Let's just look at the weeklies. All right, last week was a down week. Hey, they're starting to get clustered together. Not even hitting the rotation zone yet. See, still not hitting the rotation zone technically. But we're starting to get a rounded top. You can really see that I flip to the NASDAQ real quick. Rounded top, where it starts waning momentum, getting rounded. So keep an eye on that. That's definitely waning momentum. I mean, if inflation comes in tame, again, if it drops, it'll probably fuel another bounce up. If it comes in strong, we'll see. Today, just based off pure technicals, 52, 80, 25 on a closing basis. We close above there, shifts the probabilities to retest the highs from the beginning of April. Okay? Not a guarantee, but shifts the probabilities that way. So that's the first key area I'm watching, 52.80. And then it would be 52.98 to 5,300, and then 53.1575 are the levels, especially for today and tomorrow. You can already see going into the open, it's this 52.62, 52.63 is key resistance. There's some minor resistance about 52.71, 52.72, and then it's a straight shot to that 52.80. The key support, we're going to use 2 key support levels. 52.47 is very key, and then roughly about 52.35. Below that, 52.27, 52.09. That is the levels that I will be working with today. If we were to break this week below the lows from Friday, then a minor area is about 51.56, and major and I would be surprised if we broke Friday's lows and did not then make a pretty quick move down to test the 50. And that would be the first reconnect with the 50 since we broke and retested it back at the beginning of November. So that's exactly what I'm watching for should those Friday lows break. I have not checked on the new volume candles. I saw it pop up. I have not. If you have any feedback on it, love to see it, Sterling. Why don't I go camp? I cannot stand camping. I do not like tents. I do not like bugs. I had to go camping when I was a kid, and I have never liked it since. Now, if it's more glamping, where I just show up and there's a nice, really nice tent or a cabin, I'm fine. But that's not happening with the dogs. And our dogs, boy, they would freak out. They're not camping dogs. Do I think inflation will be hot? I think it will be hotter than expected, but you know what? I don't trust any numbers these days. So the AS did put in the first lower low on the daily last week since October. Thank you for that information, Sterling. All right, NASDAQ, the key closing area, 18,462.50. The breakout area going into the open, 18,380, which is proven to be key resistance. The support numbers. Let's just go through the support. The support I'm still looking is this 18,255. We drop below 18,255. I'm about back to 18,215, then 18,133. Above a minor level to keep an eye on is about 18,417, but then there's a pretty much straight shot to 18,462. The higher levels, if we do close above that, 18,544, 18,626. The Dow, which finally reconnected with the 50 last week, which was the first reconnect with the 50 since November. So the Dow already, and it finished that double top. The key area, though, right in front of the 50, if it rolls over and breaks through 38,800, the next very key level is 38,460. Keep that in mind. The key closing thing on the Dow to watch for this week is 39,798, so 39,800. How did the book sales go? I don't understand, Richard. Who are you referring to? The volume candles are nice. It's the normal candles like what we use, but they show how much volume there was by the width of the candle. The wider the candle, the more the volume was. All right. Well, that's good. I'll have to check those out. Are they just done? Oh, there they are. Let's just... Boom. You know, I'm feeling sort of seasick. No, that is interesting. So you can jumps out with the higher volume days. So that's sort of handy. Maybe we'll just start with those. That's actually sort of handy. So far, not much volume today. It's a little skinny candle. A little skinny candle. Maybe we should get the channel banned. I mean, you can have the... We could have the... I'm not even going to say it. I'm not going to say it. Not going to get in trouble here. Key area 2100 on the Russell, and then 2112. The key thing to watch for on a closing basis is 2126.2. The Russell's really losing momentum. Major support 2172 to 2173. If that starts breaking, we haven't technically hit the 50, so I'm still watching a return to this 2050 area, and then 2018. Going over some bigger pictures too if you can't attend every live stream this week. VIX still elevated, but 1550 is key support. And it will probably stay elevated even with a pullback because of the CPI and PPI this week. The DAX, the key level to watch for on a closing basis is about 18,650. Minor resistance 18,585, but anywhere between 18,585 and 18,650 is the rollover zone. The close above 18,650 shifts it to retesting potentially the early April highs. Coming back down into the rotation zone for really the first time since middle of February. Okay? If these lows from last Friday break, the key levels I'd be watching are 18,200, and then there's still a gap fill back to Thursday, March. Well, this is technically the roll gap, but there's still a roll gap fill to about 17, what is that, about 18K. The notes selling down almost to the second target on the channeling double. So almost at 109 even area. So that's the next key target, and then 108.13.5. And on the key closing level, it's 108.11. The yield pulling back a couple days yesterday into the rotation zone, rotating back up. Next target 4.49. So that's still in the upward sloping channeling double. 2-year also breaking out. No, we don't look at that all the time, but watch. 4.77 is the key closing on the 2 years. 10 twos, not much to talk about there. Dollar index was a little stronger, now a little weaker. Yet last Friday was, this was not a good, it was technically a percent B buy. It broke, ran all the way up, and then collapsed back down. So this is, it's still valid, but it's cautionary on that. Key support is still 103.75. Crude coming back down, hitting the rotation zone, moving back up. We still have daily cycles at the top. So, this would be a really messed up double if it does form, but the levels I'm keeping an eye on will be how we close in relation to 86.53 and on a continued push higher, 86.90 and 87.26. Let's get to some other stuff. Gold, we're still hovering. Remember, the point of the harmonics are to take an action, not to try to call the absolute top or bottom. So you see we stalled out there on Friday, spiked through it, but back to that harmonic level today. Gold is really getting overextended. But this would not be any shorting opportunity for me. Personally, we talked about the major long-term play in gold for a long time, and it finally took off. 2,300 is the major support. Other than that, silver pushing up. Remember, silver also closing above the 62.5 back on the 2nd of April. And the 87.5 target for silver is for the bigger picture. I have the bigger picture ones on here now. So we're going from the highs back in February of 21 to the lows of September of 22. That's where I'm referring to the 62.5. Let me change the color here real quick so you can see it better. So for all the silver players, silver is finally doing a little catch up. See, it closed above that 62.5. And then it's taken out the 75. The next magnet price is 28.73. Major support back at 26. Copper. Ooh, I raised these this morning, and then it spiked higher. It's actually in my next key, very strong resistance. It went through the 87.5. This is a very key resistance level that is bouncing off of right now. This 429 area. Above there, we're looking at 435, then 446 roughly. What else? Keep an eye also on the yen. The yen, this is spiked down on Friday, but really trying to break out. Breaking above 152 could get very interesting in the yen. Euro, keeping an eye on this for the inverse dollar. Let me get my chart here. The key closing area is still on the euro, which would shift me to dollar negative, which is still 108.85. I don't need... Why did you talk to me, Siri? Spiders. So, technically, we closed below the 62.5, but we're bouncing up right now. If we flip around our harmonics, still going to be watching for the rollover play. But the key areas to watch for on the closing is 520.16. 520.16 above that, 521.65, then 523.13. Support levels 518.65 about, 50 to 65. Then we're looking at about 517.20, then 515.72. For the Qs, the key flip around area is 444. Pretty easy to remember that. We're going to open about 442.13. 442.35 is right around the 50% harmonic. So 442.35, 444, 445.78. The support levels 440.45, then 438.67. Oh, I gave away some of them available. Pete, I completely forgot about some of that. I have some of them still. I'll deal with that after I move. I've only packed a box or two of them. Thanks. I've got so much going on. Would I do a pairs trade in the metals? No. I actually wouldn't, because I'm bullish on all of them. So you could have something outpace it, but that would not be a good pairs trade that I'd want to set up, because because you'd actually want to do, if you're going to do something, I would not pair off gold versus silver, because they have two different categories, probably silver versus copper, but I would not want to pairs trade those right now. Would not want to pairs trade it. I got to be somewhat bearish on something, or at least like, all right, that's not going to go up. And that would be the short side of the pairs trade, and the long side would be the thing that would be most bullish. But I would not want to try to guess on any given week which metal's going to outpace each other, upside or downside. So I would not do that. By the way, Bitcoin's still rotating back up. It's getting to a lopsided double, and it might never trigger, but that's still in play. So that answers your question. The key cluster, if it does break above the highs from March 14th, the next key cluster is 75,400 and then 77,100. We have the Tesla pump, but the only thing that could get me short-term bullish would be a close above 184.25. I'm still watching for rollover plays in the good old Tesla after stalling out twice at the second target. But again, the major price action is still lower. NVIDIA, still after closing well below the 62.5. Anything I'll be watching in NVIDIA is for rollover plays. We do have cycles at the bottom, so we might get a little bounce here, but unless this were to close back above 924.37, I cannot be bullish on it, because it's really running out of momentum and turning into right now a sideways channel with a lopsided potential double. What else? What else have I missed? What else? We had Amazon stronger this morning. Amazon also coming in, finally breaking through that harmonic. So, from all those Amazon lovers, we have it approaching the all-time highs back from 21. If it were to break above there, the next major level would be 201.95. So that's very key. That could be a massive potential. Oh, I don't think that would ever play out, but you know what? So that's where we sit. Things like Apple still barely holding on to key support. Barely. Still technically a potential double bottom, but that would need to trigger on a close above 178.67. I only like to pair trade things in the same industry for the most part. I used to pair trade for years. So I'd be doing Tesla short against some other auto or a possible basket of autos. So a basket of autos to the long side and Tesla to the short side for a convergence trade. Amazon, I'd be doing against some other. I mean, Amazon Walmart could be interesting. Amazon Walmart, Walmart's run up, but Walmart's the weaker play and Amazon's the stronger play right now. So if Walmart starts lagging more and Amazon keeps picking up, that could be interesting. Other things, like one that I've done in the past, and a Walmart Target, depending on I'm not advocating any of these right now, but things I've done in the past, Walmart Target. You just have to, which one's leading, which one's lagging. But that, they're roughly in the same space. So those are the kind of things I like to do for pairs trades. Apple Microsoft could be interesting because Microsoft's really been outpacing Apple. And if Apple breaks key support and you have Microsoft hold up, so it'd be potentially Apple, even if they both start selling off, Apple could break that key support and sell off a lot faster. Again, not advocating any of these. You have to do your own research. But those are the kind of things I like to set up for pairs trading. Let's take a look at the open. Okay. I really recommend not going cross industry unless you have a very specific reason. Into the open, let's take a look at the tick. Halfway decently strong open. So if key support holds and this thing bounces, I look at the key bounce. It's coming into the key support area about this 52-55 area. So when the tick's done pulling back, I'd watch to see how strong the bounce is. And if it can't really take out this 52-65, we could be in a choppier day. You're welcome, Sterling. Again, a lot of people, I did pairs for years, and a lot of people, they just pair stuff up based off weak and strength, but it's not a true pair. Why you want to focus on industry is because if there's something that hits a key thing in an industry, then you have, it can shake the whole industry. But if you're paired off, it can affect the two stocks, but the stronger one could hold up better than the weaker one. Like if you're doing, if you're trying to do chips, especially if NVIDIA starts breaking down below key areas, it could be, like another player versus NVIDIA. NVIDIA, because it's so overextended, or NVIDIA could sit and trade in a range and other chip makers could catch up. You got to think about it that way too. So that's where if you're doing a pairs trade, it would be chip maker against chip maker. It wouldn't be NVIDIA versus Apple. They're in two different groups. I'd rather do Apple versus Microsoft. All right, I hope that helps. Hold on. Check AA. Weekly, monthly double bottom. All right. Yep, there it is. There it is. And, since Alcoa does a lot of mineral and stuff's been stronger, there's your little targets. I'd actually use, because it's a flattening out, I'd at least use the conservative targets for the stop raise before going to the aggressive targets. 40 would be the key area for a stop raise. But that's a very interesting double. Thanks for pointing that out, Christoph. Again, hope everyone has a wonderful week. I will be back tomorrow. And thank you for all the support. Hope everybody sticks with the channel after the break, and I'll talk to everyone later. Bye for now.